Good evening, everybody. And how is everybody tonight? Please enter where you're from in the comment section so we know where everybody is calling from. Welcome to the last Q&A of the year for us as we take a couple of weeks off at the end of the year. Well deserved. Hey, Kevin and Mary. Hey, Bernie. Yeah, we're starting in a couple minutes. I'm Maria and Michael, Margaret, Danny and Joyce. How are you folks? Hello, Lauren from the Keys. Chris and Miriam. Frosty Toronto. Kathy Lee. Probably also Frosty Alaska. Hey, Brina from Boston. How are you? Well, guys, we're going to get started in a couple minutes here. So just keep introducing yourselves. Tell us where you're from. A whole bunch of you here, but we haven't seen you yet. If you're on a phone, you got to click the little side button to enter the chat. And on the computer, you'll see the chat, the comment section on the right. Just tell us where you're from. Hey, Carter. Carter from Las Tablas. Soon to be Boquete tomorrow. That's because Carter's coming for the Christmas party. Paige and Mike, how are you folks? Good to hear from you. Good. Got one more minute as people join us, folks, so we'll continue. Tell us who you are. Elaine and Bob. I don't know what's up with you Canadians talking about being cold. I'm a Canadian. I haven't been cold in a long time. 14 years without winter, Canadian folks. That's me. Hey, Chris from Vancouver Island. All right, guys, we're going to get started here any second. So the format tonight is you're just going to type your questions in the chat, and we're going to get them answered. And let's go here. And if you want to come on live and ask your question, you just have to type the word live in the chat, and then we'll bring you into the studio. You can answer your questions. So I'm going to do an extreme, as you're thinking of your questions now and everyone's typing away, we can talk about anything you want tonight, about your move to Panama, about living in Panama, procedures, laws, regulations, anything you like. And I'm just going to briefly, in 2 minutes or less, where I see a bunch of new names, as always, tell us a little bit about us. Our company is called Retire in Panama, or Retire in Move to Panama, as we are known as, because we don't just deal with retirees, but we certainly do have a lot. And we offer several products. We offer a 7-day tour, cross-country, a 3-day Cherokee Highlands tour, and our Panama Total Access Pass, which is a lifetime membership access, one-time fee. And you get our contact page, you get a 460-page book, and you get access to Oscar, Megan, and myself. A bit about myself. My name is Rod Larrabee. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I moved here just over 14 years ago. And within 3 months of my move, I was in trouble. I had some guides helping me and just some referrals that I found from random people, or one was from my a place I was renting, another one from a guy in a bar. Nothing was working out. I had a vehicle that was registered in one of my helpers' names. I had a lawyer that wanted $40,000 retainer, and it was just one problem after another. And I just by chance, well, not really by chance, I asked. I walked around Boquete and I asked every business owner that was involved in some type of tourism or on Main Street, who can help me get all this stuff done? And they all referred one guy, and that's Oscar Pena, the guy in the corner here, who I'm expecting to arrive shortly. And yeah, and so he already 14 years ago was helping expats move to Panama. And he got my entire life straightened out, and the frustration I was in was over within weeks. I was on track properly with my vehicles, my driver's license, my immigration, everything. And within a year, we became business partners. We actually first started with a storefront business in downtown Boquete where we offered coffee tours, hikes, zip lines, volcano hikes, that whole tourism sector. But what we found in our office is just out of the blue, expats would walk in and start talking to us about the problems they're having. They came down here without any help, and they had a problem with my immigration lawyer won't answer their phone, or I can't find out how to get health insurance, or I got a ticket for being here more than 90 days and I was driving, just one thing after another. So for a couple of years, we were putting out fires, and we had that type of business where we were helping expats fix their problems. But at the same time, we were also doing private tours, like taking an expat or couple for an entire week and showing them the country. And we just found out their satisfaction and their results were way better. So we formed what we have today, which is Retire in Panama Tours. And we started offering end-to-end service. From the time you're interested in Panama, we show you the country, you go home, you decide to move, and we still work with you during that whole process. We help you build your checklist. We help you decide what to move, what moving company, what lawyer, what health insurance would work for you, that whole process. So that is what we do, and we offer that, like we said, both through tours and through our Panama Total Access Pass. The difference in the Panama Total Access Pass, you just don't go on tour with us, but you basically get the same thing. You get all the knowledge you will need. And in fact, if you come on tour with us, you get the book on day one, and we everything we teach is in the Panama Total Access Pass members area, and all the contacts our tour members are going to get are the same contacts. So that is the big difference. So a lot of people like to self-explore and self-tour. So that's what we do. Okay, so pump your questions in, and let's see where this goes. Where do you want it to take us? And if there's something, even you people that have been here in a while, like for a while, you can certainly, just something that you're missing or something you want explained better, please ask that. Okay. All right. Oh, let's make sure I didn't miss anything here. All right, Robert. I won't be getting Social Security till December 26th. Is it possible to start the pension NATO visa prior to that, or do I need to be getting the pension? Great question. We get this a lot. You actually have to be receiving the pension, Robert. But do remember one thing. If you're from North America, you're allowed to stay in Panama for 180 days. So if you're going to start getting Social Security in December, meaning your first check's going to be deposited into your bank back in the States in December, you could literally move here in like July or August, and you can meet with the lawyer, you can pre-work with them to make sure you're going to have the right stuff when you want to apply, and then you apply at the end of that 180 days. And then you'll be able to stay. if you want to stay. Or some people, if they're pre, pension, they might come for 180 days, go home for a bit, and then come back for the next 180 days and start the process then. But do remember the documents you have to get for the pensionado, and they're basically only three. One is a pension letter. If it's from Social Security, that's fairly standard. It's just a downloaded letter. If it's private pension, it's a little more complicated. Your lawyer will walk you through that. You need an FBI clearance, which is an FBI criminal background check with fingerprints. And if you're married, you need a new copy of your marriage certificate. And all these have to be dated within 6 months of the date that you are applying. So don't get your documents too early. We see that all too often. Okay. Vaya bonita, eh, Ted? How is the change of Gulf of Panama upwelling affecting coastal cities? Well, Elaine, I can be honest with you, I don't know. No, like, are you talking about rising sea levels there? Like, they're having more effect on the Caribbean side than they are on the Pacific side, if that's what you're talking about. There's actually one island. If you read about it, you can just Google island in Panama underwater, something. There's an island that they're evacuating this year because the sea levels risen, so that it's pretty well uninhabited now. Hey, Alan and Belinda, can foreigners own property near the border? Now, there is a rule, and the only border that this would really affect is the Costa Rican border. That there is a certain kilometer, and it's different in different areas of the border, whether it's 10 or 30 or 15, but there's different regions along the border that are restricted to foreign ownership, but that is the only foreign ownership that I have actually ever heard about. So there are some restrictions right along the Costa Rican border, correct? Hey Bernie, you don't want to immigrate but want a vacation home for 4 to 5 months each winter. Is Panama for me? Well, probably, I'm going to guess, Bernie, 25% of the people living here between December and April are just that. They're snowbirds. I'm not sure, Bernie, if you're receiving pensions yet. If you are, it's definitely a benefit to get the pensionado visa. It'll cost you less than you'll save with it with the pensionado discount over a period of approximately 2 years. Let me show you something here, okay? Well, I was going to, but pensionado discounts. So, oh, there we go. So you Google it, then you become number one. I'm just going to bring something up here. So if you get the pensionado discount, I'm bringing up the screen, you're going to get these first two things won't really matter to you because you're not, moving here full time, but they really don't really matter to full timers either because they're not really a big deal. But once you're here, you get 50% off any entertainment. So you go to the movies and concerts, sports, and maybe you're a baseball or a soccer fan. You get 30% off bus, boat, train fares, 25% off your airline tickets. Now that can add up every year. 50% off the hotel stay Monday through Thursday is a great deal because they typically offer rack rates, like it's off the rack rate, which on the weekend, sometimes you won't get a discount because 30% off the rack rate is normal price. But you get 25% off restaurants and 15% off fast food. You can get discounts off medical and prescription meds and consultations, eye and dental. Then there's some home, and oh yeah, your utility bills. If you're along the beach, 25% off your electricity can add up. So a lot of people get the pensionable visa, which costs as little as $2,000 to $3,000 one-time fee, and it's a lifetime visa. Brianna asked, I'm a trans woman. How would I be treated with different local and expat areas? Probably, it's very conservative country as far as religion. It's very Catholic country. Although, like, the people are fairly acceptable to gay and lesbian couples. We've never had an issue. Have many on our tours, and many move here, and it's not an issue. But Panama hasn't grown as much as other countries on the trans issue. So you would have to definitely, I'll be totally honest, be careful. So that's all I can see from what I've seen here. I spent the last 25 years of my life before I moved here in Vancouver, and it was probably more accepted there in the 2000s than it is right now. So. Chuck, you mentioned a retirement visa for a family of 4. First of all, the children must be under 18 years old to include them, okay? Or they can be between 18 and 25 if they're enrolled in full-time in a Panamanian university. So that's also possible. But you cannot bring your adult children with you on a pensionado visa. You can, however, bring a parent on a pensionado visa if they rely on you for their housing. And so, like, if they live with you. So a typical cost, let's just go with the married couple, is going to be, and when I give costs, I don't give the bottom end like you see on Facebook with the lawyers trolling for business. Okay, 1,500, I can do. There are many more costs associated once you're here. You have to go to immigration twice. Every time you go, you got to get a picture and cards that cost $100 a person. So hey, right there, it's $400. You have to get stamps. You have to get translations. You have to get photos. You have to get a medical certificate. There's many different costs associated. So a typical cost for a couple would be, I'm going to say it's still under $3,000. And if you had 2 kids under 18, they would be $500 additional each. So a family of 4 with 2 kids under 18 would be $4,000. But do remember, really talk to a lawyer or someone who knows their stuff, okay, about this, that once your kids reach 18, they no longer have a visa under the pensionado program. So a different visa might be more acceptable for a family. Because, as you know, the pensionado visa is designed for retirees who will never want to work in Panama. And that's why it's so popular here and why the government loves the pensionados, because they move here and spend all their retirement savings here in Panama, yet they don't take any jobs. Yeah, Ken, hey, we're getting a lot into the cost, and I'll detail this one more time. You should be looking between $2,000 and $3,000. Now, it all depends also on the lawyer and what type of experience you want to have. We've dealt with cheap lawyers, like we've helped over 1,000 people get their pensionado visa, and we've dealt with expensive lawyers and middle of the road ones. I like a lawyer with a team. Number one, I like to deal with lawyers that have offices both in Cherokee and in Panama City, because there's only 2 places you can apply for a visa, and under special circumstances, depending on your situation, sometimes it's better to apply in Panama City, and sometimes it's better to apply in Cherokee, because the offices are run a little different. They have different heads, and they allow different things. Like in Panama City, they allow an Airbnb address for a couple applying for their visa for their permanent address. In David, they don't. So having a lawyer that has offices and staff in both locations, for me, number one, is essential. Number two, a lawyer with a team. You don't want to be that guy with that single lawyer who's working with multiple people, and they say, "Oh, we have you an appointment. Show up at immigration at 10." Now, you guys never seen immigration, probably. Well, some of you have because you've gone there, especially Panama City. It's a total 100% gong show. There's like just wall to wall people from all different countries and no one talking a word of English. And so you want a lawyer with a bilingual team that's going to be there at immigration to meet you, that's literally going to hold your place in line. You can sit in your air conditioned car and breathe, and they'll call you to, hey, it's our turn next. That's what you need. Okay, Bernie. Watch for Panama, golf courses, pickleball courts, shopping, restaurants nearby. Um, well, there's basically going to be two places that you're going to look at. You're going to look at the beaches area from Chamay to Rio Hato. That's all along outside of Panama City. It starts an hour and a half outside of Panama City and goes to about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Includes Nueva Gorgona, Coronado, my mind's going blank, San Carlos, Barrion, Rio Hato, Buenaventura. There's multiple golf courses. There's basic, like decent shopping. They all play pickleball, stuff like that. That's if you want the beach. And also, I always tell people at the beach, it's going to be in, typically in the 90s every day. Sometimes in October, November, it only gets into the high 80s. So it's, a little more comfortable for those of us that can't handle the heat. But yeah. So, or on the other side of the country, you have Boquete, and I'm including it because of everything you said here. Yes, we have pickleball, and we have paddleball, and we only have two golf courses in the area. One's an excellent, like very high-end U.S. architect designed one in Lucero, and then there's a smaller one for your little 9-hole round in Valle Escondido. It's also tennis, very active lifestyles, and we have quite a bit of shopping here, but major shopping 30 minutes away in David. So those are big, and the weather's cool. It's typically 65 to 78 degrees here every day. Hey, Brianna. Brianna's asking about an assault arrest. Basically, did I miss one here? There we go. You need to apply for immigration. You need a clean background check. Okay. Now, there can't be anything on it unless it's something like a DUI. Here, DUIs are not criminal. They are traffic tickets here. They're strict. They fine you a lot and they take away your vehicle and you can't drive, but still they don't show up on criminal reports here. So if you have a DUI, that's not going to be an issue. Immigration's going to say okay. If you have 20 of them, yeah, no, that's going to be an issue. Okay, but if you have a felony conviction, it's typically going to be an issue. Okay. Now there's a couple things you can do. Now, if your felony condition, the FBI is really bad at removing them. I've seen them on 20 years ago when they've been dismissed 20 years ago. It's best to go through the expunge process in the States. You hire an expungement company that will get that record off within 6 months, okay? Because if it was dismissed, it shouldn't be there. It doesn't matter if it says dismissed on the criminal background check. Immigration still sees it, and they're not going to accept it. So that is the best thing. If you have a misdemeanor, say you got in a bar fight when you're 18, okay? Now you can go through the Visto Bueno program. It's a program the lawyer will pass it through, and more than likely, you're not going to have an issue with something small like that, even if it was a conviction. but a misdemeanor type conviction. Ted, good question. Do the discounts apply to the Friendly Nations visa or pensionatal visa? On the pensionatal visa, no matter what your age, there's no age requirement for a pensionatal visa. If you're a 35-year-old retired military or a 45-year-old retired police officer and you move to Panama on that pension, you get the pensionatal discounts immediately. Okay. If you come on any other visa, there's 41 of them, guys. Any other visa in Panama, even though only about 10 of them are used, any other visa, you get the visa when a woman hits 55 and a man hits 60. So I came on a Friendly Nations visa. Last year I turned 60, so now I get the pensionatal visas. Pensionatal discounts. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Hey, Chris, great question. We're not as bad as Costa Rica. Panama has had a pretty decent titles office for the last 20 years. But remember, the number one person on your team buying a house is your lawyer. It is not your real estate agent. You never, ever, under any circumstance, should use the seller's lawyer, ever. So you need your own lawyer because, as Chris says, there is no title insurance. So that's why it also costs more for a lawyer. You can pay up to like 1% of the value of the house just for legal fees because they have a lot of due diligence and searching down that title. As long as you're buying title of property, and you can find that out yourself. You're looking at a property, you can do a search online, or you can go to a lawyer for a few bucks. They will show you, yes, this is a single title property, not a problem. There are a lot of, well, it's not a lot left, but probably 5% of properties in Panama are still right of possession. They're called ROP if you're looking at the listings. We highly recommend stay away from those. They can present problems, and there's no way for us to tell if this one's going to be a problem or if that one's going to be a problem. So there's lots of property for sale. Don't fall in love with an ROP property. Best thing, just don't look at it. Okay. So I've only seen issues, Chris, and yes, I've seen this recently, about 5 years ago, where a client got a hold of us after the fact, where they bought a piece of land down in Petitsie, and they all of a sudden they put their $10,000 deposit on. Everyone walked away from the deal. They couldn't get a hold of anyone, so they were using the seller's lawyer. Oh my God, I can't believe it. But we went to our lawyer, and I introduced them to our lawyer and said, "What can he find out?" There was multiple titles on the property, so yeah. So it does still happen, but if you have a good lawyer that knows what he's doing, it's not going to happen. Chris, how does medical work? Is it both private and public, and is private medical insurance very expensive? Hey, Chris, great question. Let's talk about medical. Panama has a two-tiered healthcare system. It has a public system, but they're both paid. As a public system, it is not free. You have to pay it, but a doctor's visit is 50 cents. Yep, you heard it. A specialist, $3 to $5. My friend in Panama City had a hernia. He had a ruptured hernia. That's the type of stuff. Oh my God, get this guy to a hospital. So his friends drove him to the public hospital, and it was a life or death situation because you're bleeding inside, right? So they got him right in. They did a surgery. They kept him there. He was there for 3 nights, and like he tells his story, he jokingly tells the story with his buddies when they're at the happy hour that he woke up in a dormitory on a bunk bed. I don't think it was that bad, but yes, they're all dorms, 8 to 12 people in a room, no privacy curtains. There's no, basically, if you don't bring your own soap and shampoo, you don't get any. It's not very good, like what North Americans would be used to. But he didn't have a lot of money. He was living on a $1,200 pension in Panama City. I don't even know how he does it, but you can. Um, all depends on how you want to live. But when he got out to pay the bill, it was $180 payable in monthly payments over 12 months. So, but there's also private hospitals throughout the country, which are also pay. And a surgery like that might have only cost 10 grand compared to like 100 grand in the US. But you can buy insurance. And insurance is anywhere between 100 a month and 500 a month. 100 a month for you 30-year-olds and 500 a month for you 90-year-olds. Basically, that's it. So I have a new rate of my insurance because I turned 60. I pay $248 a month, and that covers me 100%. Like there's no copay. So I pay nothing if there's an emergency. And for small out-of-pocket stuff, seeing a doctor, getting an X-ray, seeing a specialist, I have $1,000 annual deductible. So I find it very inexpensive, and I'm from Canada, and I find that inexpensive because in Canada, in BC Medical, I don't know what it's like in British Columbia now, but I was paying, I think it was $85 a month as a single, and then my prescriptions were paid up to $1,000 or something like that. I never used any of that, but I still paid the $85. But this is also how the private system works. The public system is short of doctors, short of medicines, and long wait times. Sounds like Canada and a lot of the states right now. The private system, I always use real life examples. A guest of ours 3 years ago wasn't feeling well, and he went to see the local doctor here, Dr. Gomez, who was also my doctor at the time, and he said, "There's something wrong with your heart. I want you to see a specialist." So the doctor left the office. He went into his office, made an appointment with the specialist, came back, and told my client, "How's next Tuesday for you?" "Okay, you're going to see a cardiologist next Tuesday." He paid his $15 fee to the doctor, drove to Debbie next Tuesday to see the cardiologist. And the cardiologist brought in a second doctor, and they reviewed everything and said, "Yeah, you need a heart stent. It's as simple as that. There's all the evidence. You need a heart stent. How's next week for you?" And then he had the surgery. Okay, and then he didn't have insurance, so he opted to pay out of pocket. Some people do, and the whole procedure was around $6,500 for the surgery and the hospital stay and the specialist work and the aftercare, stuff like that. So that's basically a rundown. We're going to have, I think it's in January, I have to check the schedule, another healthcare. Every 6 months we have healthcare Q&As where we bring the experts on. Ellie, are common law spouses treated equally? To no, they are not. Panama does not recognize common law. You must have a marriage license. Don't want to get married in the States? Hey, do it here before you get your immigration done. You don't have to stay married. There's no law about that. So, and that's true too. People, I will expand on this. I said, Allie, I'm sorry, Al, got my bifocals on. If you come in as a married couple and you both get personal, one comes in as the, I don't know why they call it, but either the man or the woman comes in and the other one's the dependent. It doesn't matter what happens to your marriage down the road. If one of you passes away or if you get divorced, you both retain your permanent residencies forever. So they can't take away. There's no checking up on you down the road to see if you still have pensions, in other words. Mm-hmm. So, yes, but you can also, Al, opt to, if you both have pensions that qualify you, like let's say you both have $1,000 a month or more pension, you could just both get it. It'll cost you about $500 extra. Our lawyer gets discounts if a husband and wife are applying separately at the same time. Like they're not going to charge you $2,000 a piece or whatever the rate is. Hey, Helen and Belinda, it's an old law on the books that no one's ever really taken off. I don't know if you guys knew it. Costa Rica and Panama once had a war, like literally a war. It was only 40 days, I believe. Look it up, Google it, Costa. It was in 1938 or something. So there's a law back then. And it also has to do with the not being able to title that property because it's right on the border and immigration laws and stuff like that. So, ooh, BC medical is now free. How about the wait time now? Is it the same as here, 1 week for an operation? Okay, keep those questions coming, folks. I always scroll right past the questions. So I'm just going to update my feed here. Okay. Well, now I see them. For pension, for the Friendly Nations visa, that is, there's three options to get the Friendly Nations visa. One is you to get a job offer from an existing Panamanian corporation. It's a real job, folks. I'm not talking about starting a company and hiring yourself. We don't promote that visa because it was never approved by an approved visa by immigration. Their visa is you get hired by an existing Panamanian company that has a Panamanian profile and Panamanian employees. And then you get a job offer, and it's a great visa. If any younger guys on there, maybe have computer science degrees and stuff like that, there's jobs for you here. So just go on to some of the glass doors and stuff like that and search Panamanian companies, whether it's Dell or HP or any of those guys. And I know, I myself had a company that was involved in a publishing company in the US, and we had an office in Panama City from 2012 to 2017. And I hired many foreign computer programmers. So anyways, so you get a job offer, and for most of you, that's not it. Number two, you invest in real estate or in a bank certified deposit, earning interest, decent interest of $200,000. And that visa to get will cost you somewhere in the neighborhood for a couple, $8,000 to $10,000 over 2.5 years. Not upfront, because it's actually a four-step process. It's a little more complicated to get, but it is a decent visa. A lot of people are opting for the CD because they don't want to rush into real estate, and that makes sense. A certified deposit of $200,000 in a bank earns you about $800 interest right now every month. You can pay a rent with that. And if you do find a property you like during the 2-year process to get the visa, you can switch it out to end the visa with the property as long as it's over 200. Okay, healthcare in Boquete. Hey, Robert, we have, I'm going to say, 8 private doctors, many with labs, like they can do lab work and stuff like that. We have a MINSA clinic, but that's only open during the day right now. And that's for emergencies and stuff. Like if you broke your leg, that's the first place I'd probably go, because they have the x-ray machines, they can cast you right there. You don't even have to go to them. Okay, so they have that. We have a new facility, which is a satellite division of May Lewis Hospital in Debbie. And it is open for trauma between 7 a.m. and 11 o'clock. They actually have their own ambulance too. And if you go visit them, you can get on their list for their ambulance service. As long as you're using, they're only going to take you to May Lewis Hospital, which is a great hospital. It's one would, I just don't have, I've never had to use my medical insurance. But I've taken many people to the May Lewis or the Cherokee Hospital. I like May Lewis. It's a good hospital. So we have that facility now with labs. with with EKGs. I don't think they do MRIs there yet. We also have Dr. Shannon's opened a new office, and she brings in lots of specialists, and she's also introducing an ambulance service. So we've gone from one ambulance to like four of them in the last few months here. So so we have really advanced up here in Boquete. So, but major stuff is all done in David. It honestly is. I can leave my house. I live in the north end of Boquete, so I can't say I can make David in 30 minutes. If you lived in the south end, yes, you can make David in 30 minutes. It's this time of year it's pretty busy. Hey Chris, if you take a look at right here, go to our website and click on the Total Access Pass, and we have two programs. Okay, now what you get a members area. This is a lifetime access. You pay one, you get all of our contacts we've had over the last 14 years. Okay. Number two, you get the book, which is an actual physical hardcover book. And it has a lot of the theory about moving to Panama, with learning about Panama, its history, its culture, its cuisine, its politics, all that stuff. It's printed for you at the time of ordering. So it doesn't need a lot of updating, because whenever the book has a sentence that's going to refer someone, it tells you to check your member, to log into your members area, because that's where all the referrals go. And logistics of the move, to planning the move, we have everything in there, from doing yard sales, doing estate sales, doing to just that whole process, what to do with your entertainment, with your phones, everything like that. So there's two options for this product. Oh, the third thing it includes is us. Here we go. You're going to have direct access to us through a 24/7, an 18-hour/7 email support. Like, we answer it as soon as the emails come in. Platinum members get WhatsApp access to Oscar, Megan, and myself. You get video calls with us to help you plan your move. There's two options for it. It's a gold lifetime option for $497, and the platinum for $997. We only sell 10 of these a month. We're at 5 already this month, but because they're like tour members. We treat, come on, there's Panama Total Access Pass members coming to the Christmas party, because they're just like our tour members. We treat them no different, because we help you through the entire procedure of your move, and we're your lifeline. Don't let Facebook be a lifeline. No one on Facebook needs a reputation like we have online. Needs to keep it up. So they're going to tell you what worked for them. That might not work for you. Most people on Facebook are good at heart. Like, they don't mean harm, but somebody who doesn't know your whole story might give you really bad advice and cost you lots of money. Mm-hmm. Chuck. Okay, Chuck. Now what I'm going to tell you is all visas, all permanent visas. You are required to enter Panama once every 2 years. That is the only requirement. So there's no requirement number of days you got to stay here. You must enter Panama, and the law, and I'm giving you a direct translation of the law. Actually, it's backwards. The direct translation of the law is, you must not be absent from Panama for more than 2 consecutive years. So I always convert it, like, sometimes Spanish sentences, the way they're written, you have to enter Panama every 2 years. So come for a day. Investment visa. For non-pensioners, I've heard about the investment visa. Well, the difference between the Friendly Nations visa and the Qualified Investors visa is 2 things. Number one, it's more money. You got to purchase $300 worth of real estate, or $750,000 in securities, or a bank account here, like a locked-in 2-year bank account. Number two is it takes 2 years and 4 months to get the Friendly Nations visa to get the permanent. You don't have to leave because you have a temporary visa that whole time. You got your driver's license, you got everything you need. You don't have to leave. But what they're preventing people from doing is buying and selling, like buying something or putting money in the bank and taking it out the day you get your visa. So they're making you show that you still have it and you haven't sold it after 2 years, then they give you your permanent. With the qualified investors with a $300 real estate purchase, you can get your permanent visa in as little as 30 days, although I've never seen it in less than 45 days. Qualified investors cost almost double what like the government fees are more. It's kind of funny. The Panamanians think, oh, you have more money, so we're going to charge you more. That's what the government thinks there. So that is basically the difference. The tax situation, no matter what visa you are in, whether you're a citizen or a resident or a tourist here, Panama has a territorial tax system. They only charge income tax on Panama sourced income. Now, there's one exclusion to that is savings accounts. Panama has a law that the first $500,000 in savings you don't have to pay tax on. So the Panama government felt, hey, you've already paid tax on that money, you've earned it once, why would we charge you again? I always find that amazing. But so if you come in on a Friendly Nations visa with 200, although you're making over $10,000 a year on interest, you don't have to pay tax on it because of that $500,000 savings account law. Mm-hmm. So, but for all your investments, like, you know, we work with our clients, no matter where you're from. We have experts that will work with you with your portfolios. If you have investments, maybe your bank isn't friendly to Panama and you want to switch to whether it's Interactive Brokers or some other investment company. What you don't do, what I've seen a lot of people do who haven't got the right advice, they bring all their money here and they invest it in the Panama Stock Exchange. Well, if they have a lot of money and making a lot of money, then they're going to owe taxes because they're going to be investing in Panama stocks. So you got to be careful on what you do with your money and plan it properly. Hello, Chris and Merriman. How are you folks? Recognize the name. I know you're coming with us. What are the gun laws like in Panama? Okay. There's not a lot of guns in Panama at all. It is very difficult. I shouldn't say that. It's very time consuming and costly to get a gun here. It can take a year, like minimum. Your typical $249 Walmart Glocks cost $2,500 there. There's not many new ones for sale. Importing your own, you can import, every individual can import up to 5 weapons. And those are, we're talking pistols, long guns here. We're not talking anything automatics or AKs or stuff like that. Those are not allowed in Panama. But you want to, if you're going to import your own, you got to make sure that you know, ammunition for that, if you use it, is, you know, for sale here, because, you know, just there's not a lot of gun there. There just isn't. It's not a self-defense type country because it's just, we don't have the crime that to really represent that, and the people aren't, you know, there's just not a lot of guns. But to get a license, the procedure is quite simple. But it's not quick. You need to hire an attorney or a fixer to do this. You're not going to do it on your own. And you're going to go through the process of applying for a license. You're going to take training. You're going to see a shrink. You're going to get a physical. You're going to go through all the processes. They're going to find your weapon. You're going to purchase it. You haven't touched it yet. It's sitting down at the Viejo place in Panama City at the police, and they're going to put all that together. And within a year, they're going to tell you to come pick up your license, and it is a carry license. And pick up your license and weapon. If you import, add a good year to that. Kelly, you have in-country health insurance. No, mine's actually international, Kelly. So mine's an international plan for $248. It works anywhere in the world. The difference is I got the cheap rate because I opted for lowest, my mind, not deposit, the lowest amount I have to pay here, but I have a $10,000 deductible outside of Panama. I shouldn't say outside of Central South America. Okay. So, but that's very simple for me. When I do go to US and Canada, I buy what's called gap insurance online to cover my insurance deductible. And it costs me at my age about $60 a week. So all I have to do is make sure I'm traveling with a nice clean credit card that's got 10 grand on it or more. And the difference for me would be is, let's say I had a major incident in the US. The insurance company I use is called MAPHRE, MAPHRE, and they are networked all over the US. So typically, if I'm in a city, I'm going to the hospital, showing my card, they're going to see the network symbols. Yep, you're good to go. And I give them my credit card. I pay the first $10,000, and after that, it's 100% covered. No copay, nothing. And I get fixed up. I go home. I submit my $10,000, and my gap insurance pays. So it's basically free coverage. Mm-hmm. Do you have to have all your paperwork apostilled and translated at the consulate in the States? Okay, let's go through that process. A lot of people get confused. None of the translations happen in the States, number one. Okay, so let's talk a basic visa. You have your pension letter, you have your FBI background check, and you have your marriage certificate. Okay, now you have the choice of getting it state apostilled or Panama consulate authenticated. We still recommend the Panama consulate authenticated. And if you work with our lawyers, that's the way you're going to go, because they have great relationships with the consulates. The consulates send them the paperwork. It's typically cheaper, and it happens right away, like in 24 hours. Some apostle services in the States are good. Most aren't. Most are expensive, and they take too long. Okay. The translations will happen here in Panama, because they have to be done by a certified Panamanian translator. But there again, if you're asking these questions, Jenny, you should have your lawyer retained, because they're the ones that's going to walk you through this process. And if they're not, if their lawyer doesn't guarantee to walk you through your process, you need to find another lawyer. It's as simple as that. I'm going to do for you, this is my Christmas present to you guys. Our lawyer does not advertise on Facebook. They're not their staff aren't in the groups telling people that, hey, this is the best lawyer forever, because they're actually busy. Sorry, I just have to, you guys all see what I'm doing, not a problem. I'm giving you a link. If you want it, there's no obligation here, but if you fill out this form, they will get back to you. They will ask a few questions to see what your situation is, and they'll give you a complete quote. And we've used them, Oscar 18 years, me 14 years. They've never made a mistake with all of our clients, 100% satisfaction. And feel free to fill in that form. That's all you get. You gotta buy the access pass if you want the rest of our contacts to take it cool. Just kidding. So, okay. Hey Bruce, 2-week visit. Can you recommend a nice hotel or Airbnb? You know what, Bruce? You are hitting the high season of Boquete. You're not going to get Panama City rates. Even in low season, Panama City has cheaper hotel rates than Boquete does. You're looking for something decent, like Coral Suites or Torrillas. You're looking at $90 to $140 in Boquete right now. And if you haven't booked yet and you're coming next month, you're going to have a difficult time finding it. So you're going to have to look around. So if you want to be in town, walk into everything, you have downtown suites. I'm not going to type these all out, so break fast. Downtown suites. Villa Alejandro has several locations. um, Isla Verde, Panamonte. So those are some of the downtown area ones that you can basically walk to anything. Mhm. That would be in the type of hotel that you looked at, but they're going to be $100. Is opening a checking account or is it just a bank account, whichever, as long as we don't wait till we do automatic deposit? Savings account, Elaine. No one opens up checking accounts here because no one's going to take a check anyways. Sometimes in a grocery store, you'll stand behind the 90-some-year-old lady who's lived in Buketi all her life and everyone knows, and then she goes to pay for her $13 of groceries, and we know when she's fishing through the purse, she's going looking for the checkbook, and it takes a long time for her to write it. That's about the only time I've ever seen someone write a check. But a savings account is to open a bank. But first of all, you need to be in the process of residency to open a bank account. And the process could take a week, could take a bit longer if you're not in Panama City. So don't expect to come here on a tour or come here on a week vacation and open a bank account. If anyone tells you on Facebook, and lawyers do this too, there are some people opening up a bank accounts for people without residency. I can tell you what's going to happen because we hear about those almost on a weekly basis. The accounts get frozen. It's against the governor of banking laws. Okay? You must be at least in the process of residency. That means you have your temporary card or a letter from your lawyer who's well known to the bank that yes, they have retained me and we are working on your residency. Most banks want to see some type of lease or where you're staying, or they deal with a company like ours. They get a letter from us stating that we are assisting on binding their rental. Um, so they want to know that you are a resident. You don't have to be full time here. That's not an issue. There's many. You need a bank account here, and I, for the life of me, I know expats that have been here many, many years that never opened up a bank account, and I'm not sure I understand why. It's nothing to do with U.S. reporting because if you open up a bank account here, they're going to report on you, and who cares if you have a foreign bank account? The government doesn't care. So if you're hiding the fact that you have a bank account, yes, they care. But you can pay your rent with it. Now, even if you have one of those cards that say they're going to refund your ATM fees, you're renting a nice $1,250 apartment down in Gorgona. You got to go to the ATM on the 30th of the month and start collecting. You got to stand in front of the machine and pull out $250 5 times. Is that even a smart thing to do? No, you shouldn't do that. You have a bank account here to have some money in it so you can pay your rent, you can pay your maid, you can pay your gardener, you can pay your darn electrical bill. The only way to pay is through the bank or stand in line and pay cash at a pay center. So, yes, banking here is important and you should have a bank account. And it's not difficult. If you follow the list of what they require, it's not difficult to open up a bank account. It doesn't happen the same day, but it's no different as somebody from Panama flew to the States and walked into uh, um, Wells Fargo and said, "Hey, oh no, Wells Fargo would probably open up accounts for anyone." Sorry, little Wells Fargo joke there. Okay, walking to a Bank of America, I want to open an account. No, it's not going to happen like that. They're going to want a lot of paperwork for a foreigner, just like Panama does. All right. I think I've been talking too much. I guess Oscar and Megan's parents flew all the way from Pennsylvania and we found out they were arriving tonight, so they must have quite made it in time to come to our Christmas party on Saturday. So for the few people here I saw from Buketi and the people here traveling that are in Buketi now, gonna see you guys on Saturday. Guests, of course. If you're total strangers and you're on this call tonight and you haven't been a client and you're in Buketi, reach out to me. Maybe I can get you an invite. I know people. That's a good choice. You're not happy with your banking book, Eddie? It's easy. Open another one. Yeah. But don't. By the way, guys, banking. Don't expect stellar customer service in banks in Panama. Of course, they don't have stellar customer service in banks in North America either. Why would you expect it? All right, guys, it's been wonderful to have you. Look forward to our new after holiday Q&A lineup next year. Thank you all for joining tonight, and we'll talk at you soon. And we'll see you Saturday, Carter. Hey, Margaret. Good night, folks.